Kyle resented that everyone seemed to doubt that he would be okay at summer camp. Sure, he was shy, and yes, he sometimes had trouble making new friends. But Kyle knew that he was a great camper and that he'd be excellent at all the skills they'd been taught in Scouts. He could start a fire without matches. He could navigate using just the stars. He could build a shelter from branches and moss. He was certain other campers would want to be his friend. On the day they dropped him off, Kyle watched as his parents drove away slowly, as though they were watching for him to run after them. He looked around at the tall trees and the rustic cabins, the sparkling lake, certain this would be the best summer ever. A tall teenager approached in front of him. "Come on, no daydreaming. It's time to make up your bunk." Kyle followed along and got right to work making his bed. He checked the corners, flattened the blanket, and made sure his bed was military perfect. When the other boys noticed the attention he put into his bed, they laughed. "That's not going to work out," said the one boy. "If your bed looks like that, the rest of our beds will have to look like that." The boy bounced on Kyle's bunk until the blankets became wrinkled and loose. "Better," said the boy. "I'm Jack, by the way." Kyle looked away. He refused to shake hands with this boy who had just destroyed his hard work. "Suit yourself," said Jack, and he wandered off. As the days went on, Kyle had similar experiences over and over again. When he worked to start a fire for his group, after their matches were lost, the boys stopped him. "Stop! If we can't build our own fire, we won't be invited to the bonfire at the main lodge." During the hike, Kyle forged ahead and cleared the path for his companions. "Don't do that," one boy yelled. "Stay on the trail that's there. It leads to town, and we can get ice cream." One day, the boys from Kyle's cabin were canoeing. They drifted into a current and were pulled into a river. They traveled in the rushing water for nearly an hour before they were able to pull their canoes onto the rocky beach. Exhausted from the efforts, the boys collapsed on the gravel. "It will be dark soon," said Jack. "What are we going to do?" Kyle sprung into action. Gathering twigs and moss, he built a fire in a circle of stones he assembled on the shore. Kyle sent 3 boys to gather branches from the nearby trees and fastened a fishing line from his shoelace and a bit of metal that can be found on the shore. After catching several trout, supervising the building of their sleeping pallets and shelter, and dragging the canoes away from the water, Kyle cleaned and cooked the fish. The boys sat by the crackling fire, enjoying their dinner. There was an awkward silence. Jack finally spoke. "We are lucky to have you here, Kyle.